Hello everyone, I'm Matt Evans and welcome to Board Game Replay. If this is your first time joining us, Board Game Replay is a series where we try to capture the experience of playing a board game by sitting down for a post-game discussion, discussing various elements of the game, and then cutting back to replays of moments that we found fun or exciting. Now today we're going to be playing Dungeon Fighter, which is a 1 to 6 player, fully cooperative, dexterity-based dungeon crawl. I think I got all that right. Now, this is a pretty light game, but I will tell you it has the dexterity element is absolutely a bear and creates some real craziness in this game. And I'm going to get to a little bit more about what that means in just a second. But for those of you, as usual, who already know this game, you don't need a game and rules overview, you can feel free to click right up here, skip to the main part of the video. Alright, so as I said, Dungeon Fighter is a dexterity-based dungeon crawl. Now first, a dungeon crawl basically just means that players are going to be delving into some type of dungeon, fighting monsters, upgrading their weapons, and gaining treasures and things along the way. And that's pretty much what we're going to be doing here. We're going to be fighting our way through this dungeon and fighting increasingly difficult monsters until we get to the very last room where we fight a hugely powerful boss. And the crazy part about this game is that anytime we fight a monster, we're going to have to be physically throwing our dice at this board to try to land them and deal damage. That's how you deal damage to monsters in this game. So as an example, I will show you a sample monster here. We've got the Goblin. Now a Goblin has 7 hit points. He deals 1 damage, that's what that symbol means below it, and then he's worth 1 gold. If we defeat this Goblin, we gain a gold. Now this is a really basic monster. He only has 7 hit points and he only deals 1 damage. It's really basic. But this is how a sample round would go. Basically, if I was the first player here, say I'm Sir Moo. Sir Moo has 3 dice. He gets to distribute them. He kind of takes the color that he wants, and these correspond to some basic special abilities. The special abilities might be healing everyone in the party, or maybe dealing some extra damage, or something like that. But basically, he gets to choose a color that he wants, then he passes the dice to the next player, and then the next player. Now, if I'm playing this, I'm going to take this die, I'm going to physically throw it at this board to see if I can hit this monster. And it has to bounce once off the table first before it hits this board. So that was okay, actually. That was 2 damage, but no special abilities triggered here, because you can see only 50% of this die facing has this little eyeball symbol. If you land the eyeball symbol, your special ability will trigger, but in this case, it did not. I just dealt 2 damage to the monster. So I'd use this little track here. The monster started at 7, and I'd bump him down 2 damage. Now it's going to go on to this player, who's going to do the same thing. They're going to take a shot at the monster, so I'll try that. And then it fell in the hole, which is just so typical of this game. It's brutal. And it falls in this hole, so I missed. That's a miss for this round. So this Goblin, because I missed, is going to deal me an immediate 1 damage. Now this player is going to give it a shot, and I'll just try it here. And of course, just because I did that quickly, I still landed a hit. And then another 1 damage is dealt to the monster here. And now, since that's the end of the round, we're all out of these colored dice. The monster's now basically going to hit everyone in the party, including this 4th player here who hasn't even gone yet. Now, we have one way to avoid that. Up here in our little treasure chest here, we've got 1 acquired white die. We basically start the game with this white die. And white dice are only usable 1 time, but you can use them to extend the round. So if we wanted to, we could have this 4th player take this white die and try to throw it and deal damage to maybe finish off the monster before he can hit us all. But now that white die is gone forever, we have to buy it again later from an item shop. So throughout the game, you're going to want to collect a lot of these white dice to just kind of boost the round a little bit when you've got a difficult monster. Speaking of monsters, let me tell you why this game actually is insanely difficult. That monster doesn't look like anything. As the game progresses, we're going to be fighting monsters like the Obnoxious Monkey, which he doesn't have much. He only has 2 hit points, but you'll notice here at the very bottom, there is a picture of someone throwing the die from underneath their leg. And that's exactly what you have to do to fight this Obnoxious Monkey. You have to literally stand up at the table, lift up your leg, and throw it underneath your leg, bouncing it off the table, and then landing it on the target board. You can see how this game gets ridiculous very quickly. Another example of a monster is the Ancient Gargoyle. You can see on this one, you have to actually have the die balanced on your nose, and then bounce off the table, and then land on the target board. I know, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So one thing that we do in this game is we take a lot of practice rolls, which I don't think the rules really touch on, but I highly recommend it because, I mean, taking a die off your nose and bouncing it off the table to land for damage, you're just never going to do it the first time. Those are just some examples of the monsters, and those are some low-level monsters. As you get higher up, they're basically like 15 and 20 hit point monsters, and also having something crazy. And also, as these monsters get more difficult, players are actually going to be getting more powerful as well, because you're going to be defeating these monsters, you're going to be gaining gold, and eventually there's spots on the map where you're going to be able to shop for items. Now, I'll give you an example of some of the items you can find in this game, and these also make the game ridiculous. So here I've got the Horned Helm. Now the Horned Helm has a picture of a guy bouncing a die off of his forehead and then bouncing it off the table. That's how you use the Horned Helm. You basically take the die, it has to bounce off of your forehead, off the table, and then onto the target board. If you do that, you get +3 damage to your roll, which is awesome. I mean, you really need that damage in this game. Once you're fighting 12 and 13 health monsters, that's the only way to kill them, is with crazy weapons like this. Horned Helm, and then here we've got this infamous blade, which is basically just like that obnoxious monkey's ability. All of your hits, if you throw them from underneath your leg and bounce them off the table, you'll do a +2 damage. And sometimes you get these crazy combos where you can do 2 things at once. I mean, theoretically, if you could actually use this infamous blade and Horned Helm together if you were extremely talented, but I don't think you could ever really throw it under your leg, bounce it off your forehead, and land a hit. But hey, if you can do it, that's going to be 5 extra damage. This game is, as I kind of mentioned before, it's pretty light in the fact that it's basically you move into a room, you encounter a monster, you fight that monster, you move on to the next room. But some of the craziness you come into with combinations, whether it's the weapons you pick up or the enemy abilities that you have to overcome, I mean, they're just crazy. And throughout the game, it's just going to get more and more insane as we pile up weapons. And there's actually some other items you can end up with as well. There's these one-shot items here, like this stylish ring, which allows you to discard to heal everybody in the party for 4, which is really good. Or something like this lucky locket here that has you lets you re-roll a die after you miss it, which that can make or break this game. I mean, later in the game, and I'll show you an example of those really quick too. Later in the game, you're going to be fighting some monsters. Like, look at this, Fire Elemental, 19 hit points, 4 damage, and he's worth 4 gold. That means if I miss this guy, if I throw a die and I miss, he's going to deal me 4 damage, and then at the end of the round, if he's not dead, another 4 damage. Pretty powerful. We're going to be set this game up for easy today, so you can see the tower here. There's 4 level 1s, 4 level 2s, 4 level 3s, and then 2 level 4s. On higher difficulties, there's basically less of the lower levels and more of the higher levels, just to make the game even more brutal. We can't handle that. This game is insanely hard as it is, so we're just going to shoot for easy and see how it works out. Anyway, we'll get to the game right now, so stay tuned.
That was intense.
Man, that was... Are you okay, dude?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm right.
Wow, that was...
died.
Dude, I think we played this game on easy again, and we won literally the last dive.
Whoa. What's hard?
What's hard?
Harder monsters.
Harder monsters throughout the dungeon, so harder stuff throughout the entire thing. So yeah, I mean, we've played this game like, what, 8 times or something, and... God,
it's ridiculous.
It's on easy. It's insanely hard. And again, I think it's because we're throwing rectangular shaped things and trying to bounce them. I think that's really the biggest thing. And we got this little mouse pad mat that's like not making it easier. Oh, that was, look at that.
Right in the 0 points.
I think it was fun to play a cooperative game. But one of the reasons we chose another cooperative game, we haven't done many on the series, but we want to do another cooperative game because the last one we played, Galaxy Defenders, it went really well, despite we had our doubts because we thought the format of the show worked better for competitive games, but we figured, we'll try a cooperative game with that. It worked out really well, and we wanted to make sure we got you guys in a cooperative game too, since we're always fighting against each other, it was a nice change of pace.
Yeah, we came together as a team, held hands.
Held some hands.
Some of the monster powers, as I mentioned before, some of the monster powers are just all over the place, and we've got all the monsters we use here, but there was a monster power that we had first played incorrectly. It has a picture of... a hand, I won't show you, I'll put it up on the screen here, but basically there's a picture of that hand grabbing another wrist, and we had figured it was our own hand doing this type motion. And, nope, you're supposed to grab the person to your left. They hold the die for you, and then you use their hand to whip it at the board. And that was just all kinds of fun.
Yep.
Use this?
You gonna use your special power?
To blow on it?
You had to smack my hand?
Yeah.
Yes! Unbelievable!
Count it.
You healed too?
Yeah.
Oh man. Did you just move my hand? This is a real deal right now. No practice.
No?
We don't practice in this house here.
It's on. One.
Count it.
My hand's
Ready?
This game. Oh man. Brian's at 2 health. You're at 2 health?
Yep.
You're at 2 health? Everyone's gonna die and we just stand here playing with Matt's arm.
What's the?
We need these.
Playing with Matt's arm.
No, I could do this, and you can move my arm and go. Would that count? Totally.
Yes,
what do you
that
do?
counts.
Can I make you
Here.
flick it?
Yeah, so go like this, and then grab my arm. Yes! Count it!
7 damage.
Oh my
And he's
god.
dead.
7 damage.
Suck it.
7 damage? How?
Yeah.
He used his,
It went
he
on
used his
4.
weapon. He used a
Because
slingshot.
I used Jeremy to flick it.
Yeah, and as you can see at the end of that clip there, one of the best parts about this game is that you can generally combine your weapons with any of the monster setbacks or abilities.
Other weapons.
or even other weapons. So Brian using Jeremy's hand as a pool cue was basically one of the highlights of the game. Oh, that was so funny, man. Oh god. And you actually landed it too. And it should go without saying, I mean, I mentioned this before as well, but we did a fair amount of practice shots. I have no idea if it's in the rules. I think we've read it a number of times. I don't think there's anything that says you can't take practice shots,
Yeah.
but you have to take practice shots.
Yeah.
Good God. I mean,
It's impossible otherwise.
you can't.
Yeah, this game would be over real quick if you weren't able to take a black and
We would
practice
have been
shot.
much more dead.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Especially the over-the-shoulder one. That took us a half hour to figure out how to do it right.
They're so random though. Like you'll get on the board and then you'll be like, all right, go, and then it misses completely.
We'll
Yeah.
just
I think I
go
watched,
around the board.
watched 2 doing that.
And
Right, but
that's a perfect time to mention.
Yeah.
We need to show a clip of that. Before we do that, I want to say, like, there are some things in this game, and I think even the designers of this game mentioned it. Like, if you just really get stuck on a monster, or like it just gets to the point where the fun goes away, they say like, all right, just skip that monster, whatever. We didn't quite do that. We noticed that there was a card that basically said, stand up behind the table and throw the die over your shoulder. And we were just like, come on. Like, look, if I stand up right now, look where I'm at. Like, this is a pretty short table. Look at this.
we're kind of
My
tall.
head's completely out of the frame right now. I'm throwing a die over my shoulder. I'm 6 foot tall. Like, how am I supposed to bounce that once and then land on that board? It's never going to happen.
Here's an example.
Like,
Wow, that's incredibly easy.
that's seriously.
How did that just happen? I can't believe that happened.
Totally easy. It's totally hard. You can never do
And
it.
you landed it facing so you get your power.
That's not supposed to happen.
I can't believe that just happened.
Well,
So anyway,
in real life, that would never happen.
I mean, I'll show you. It took us at least 30 tries.
oh my
each.
god, let's go look at that.
This is over shoulder, right? That counts?
Yeah, you can twist, but you gotta just look over your shoulder. One bounce.
It's never gonna happen.
Like this thing.
0.2 degree angle. No.
He does. God damn.
This is impossible.
I think we're just gonna die on round
All right.
2.
Practice first. That was pretty good, right?
No.
That's right.
Not to the board.
Behind the back. That's not even.
Just real shot. Ready? Damn it! No!
No, but there's no.
Real shot?
Yeah. Right. Ready?
Yep.
All right, I'm going for it.
Heal it.
Real shot?
Real shot.
Please hit it.
Oh! It's only one though.
One whole damage!
Oh.
Go for it.
Real shot.
YOLO.
Oh!
And
With
a
the heel.
And a heel! Yeah, so I think it's necessary for this game, and we have our own little code where we throw the dice and go, practice. I mean, we should get down to the point where we just basically, it's always a practice shot unless you say otherwise, because it's so easy to wanna cheat almost,
Yeah.
right? Like, you know, I mean, you guys, we've all been there where we're like, wait, was that a real shot? And you're like,
Like, well, I landed in the bullseye and activated my ability, so yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was a real shot.
so we, just like anything, just to make sure that there's, you know, we stay legit, we basically just say, like, if you don't say it's a real shot, it's not a real shot.
I mean, there were some unbelievable shots, which you just kind of have to take our word for it, that we were legitimately landing it.
Brian, one shot.
I can't. He took my red.
+2, +3, 10, 15. He's dead. Boom. Do it. Right in the middle. Middle active. You got to do it. Otherwise, you're kicked off the team.
This helps.
Real or practice? Declare it.
Real.
So we know.
Just don't hit the board. Hit the board. It's not on the corner of the circle.
Real.
What?
I can't even. Did you actually land that?
Yes, dude.
Dude, that is totally majority. That is the most on the 10, and you're doubling the damage.
That's exactly what I told you to do. Good job.
We didn't edit that, I promise. It was ridiculous.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
That was
ridiculous.
definitely once per game.
That was
once
that was
per game
so
kinda
I
ridiculous.
used my skill of sheer chance
Sure
to do that.
Sheer chance.
God,
That
I
was
think. I
ridiculous.
mean, there isn't a whole lot to discuss with this game. I mean, just because of what it is. It's a very simple game, as I mentioned during the rules overview. But there's not a whole lot of complexity here. It's really just about running into just crazy combinations of stuff. I mean, there's definitely some tactical decisions to be made, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Using items or build like Brian had 3 different weapons. Like deciding which ones to use and which ones not to use to make it easier or harder.
Yep. And at the end of the game, you were combining blindfolded. What were you?
Non-dominant
Dominant
hand.
flicking blindfolded.
He had to flick it off his hand with his non-dominant hand and close his eyes.
Yeah.
So
The game's ridiculous. It's a perfect game to play when you're just looking to have fun. I mean, if you play this game and you're someone that has to win and you're like really hardcore, you're probably not gonna have a good time with this because it's punishingly difficult. I mean, we played it on easy, and we won by 1 die roll. The game was over.
he had 1 health.
You had 1 health.
left.
If you missed, game over. we
Yeah,
all lost.
we had no white
1
dice
health,
left.
last dice.
It's crazy, and I think it's been really close to that every time we've played this too.
This is one of those games you can play with kids and like just break all the rules
Yep.
and just have a whole lot of fun
that's a
with.
good point, too.
Because you'll eventually somebody is going to hit like that perfect shot and everybody's going to go crazy and it's going to be tons of fun.
Yeah.
It's a high energy game. You know,
Yeah,
it's
totally.
every roll you're like, oh, is it gonna get it? And when you get something crazy or you do a bunch of combinations and actually land it, it's awesome.
Absolutely. And Isaac, even with, I mean, one of the things that I found most impressive is we picked a weapon that had absolutely no chance of doing anything. We picked the horn helm for you, thinking that, I mean, that was one of the ones we had the most difficulty with,
Yep.
bouncing it off of your forehead, and you just went for it.
It was you know, it was a bad call and I owned it. I owned it.
Hey, that's thinking with your head. You know?
That's true. And you actually had some pretty impressive shots off of your forehead.
I think I had at least one. I think I had
You
one.
landed
good
a
one.
few times.
Did I?
A few.
I think.
Let's check it
maybe.
out.
Where can we check that out?
Do it slowly once.
You just
Don't forcefully don't screw it up.
Just do it
and then
slow.
be like,
What do you want?
That's what I want right there. Do that.
oh,
You
weird.
ready for realsies?
Ready?
God, don't miss.
Going.
And he still lands a hit. 4
Turbo
damage.
slammed it again.
4 damage.
After getting it on the board twice, you're like, all right.
Practice.
Bullseyes him.
Practice.
Yeah, that'll happen.
That's it.
That's okay. Real.
So intense.
Bounced it, which was incredible.
Count it.
Count it.
Well, I think one of the cool things about this too is I think all the creatures have. I mean, it's somewhat like the thematic, like Medusa. With a Medusa card, you're covering your eyes when you go to throw the stuff in, and some of the stuff they come up with is just kind of really stupid. The Frogman one was particularly one of my favorites. We were like halfway through doing the Frogman thing, and I realized like everybody looks like a frog when they do this, and we're so stupid. We're like, it has the symbol of jumping into the air and throwing your dice, but. Well, why don't you just watch us doing it because it was so stupid? We didn't realize it until halfway through, but it was... We all just looked ridiculous. We look like frogs.
Really smart.
All right, this is practice.
You have to jump.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt.
Real shot. It is.
No practice. First one.
Get your frog face.
Heal and 2 damage.
That's 2 damage.
Is this the real one or no?
This is my real run.
Oh god. Wait, it activated. It still
Activated. He doesn't do damage.
Because when you do the jump, you kind of have to squat. Otherwise, you're jumping way too high. So you have to like squat down, jump at the same time.
Yeah, it was so funny though. It was just the way that came apart. We're like, well, we don't have to be standing up when we do it. We can squat and do it. And then I'm like watching us all do this stupid motion. God, that was so funny. I thought my Rambo's knife was pretty awesome.
Rambo's knife.
Rambo's knife was awesome. I just get to sit on the floor and
Sit
throw
on the
dice
floor?
on the table.
Nobody can see you, but
Yeah,
that's all right.
but I mean, honestly, I think I had like maybe one good throw with that, but the rest were garbage. So my eyes are above the table right now. Below. Above, below. Going for it. First shot.
Oh
Eyes below
god.
the table.
Oh dear.
Did I get it? My eyes are below the table,
And close.
and I'm closed. I'm going with the blue die, taking my shot.
In the hole.
In the hole.
No! Did I land the facing at least?
No.
Tiger Woods right there.
Practice. No. I don't practice.
Rambo never practiced.
Rambo doesn't practice. They get it?
It's on.
Yeah,
It's on. It's active.
one active.
What's your thing do?
It's always good to have gear, though. You know,
Yeah.
they make harder shots. It adds more fun, but it definitely helps. Like you cannot fight the boss with 40 health
40 health?
without doing something crazy.
I
Yeah.
love your three
Without
weapons. Were
combos.
just, and I mean, sometimes you find, and even the book tells you, like, if you can combine weapons and it makes sense to do it, then do it.
Go
I mean,
for
If you can physically do it, yeah.
right. I mean, there's the one that's like bounce it off, have it off, roll it off of your nose, and then
yeah.
you couldn't obviously combine that with
With,
a helmet
like-
to bounce it off your head.
Yeah, or like have the person next to you roll it off your nose. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, you could.
That one's, I mean, that's doable. I mean,
Maybe.
I guess.
anyway, the game's so silly. It lends itself to that interpretation. Like if you're taking this game literally in any sense, like you're probably playing it wrong. But if you want a challenging game, this game definitely has it. I'll definitely say that. But it's just a blast to play with, like just goofing around and throwing dice. I don't know if I'd ever really want to play anything but easy. I mean,
Oh, I was going to say the exact same thing, yeah. To keep the fun up, because otherwise, I mean, I guess if you're really looking for a challenge and then ready to die, but you want to get to the final boss. I would think you would
Yeah,
want
I
to
mean-
get to the final boss.
Like we said before, we made it to the last boss, killed him with one person having one health left.
yeah.
Yeah.
With the last dice.
Yeah.
We need to find a competitive league for this game out there somewhere, and maybe find what the pro tips are for Dungeon Fighter.
I think
Because there's
we-
got to be some strategies we're not applying.
We need to have it like on a
Implying?
bar, on a, like a.
Implying.
We need to play it on a kitchen bar or something, so
Yeah.
you can do the jump spin move. There's no way the jump spin move
Yeah.
thing works like here because you just throw it across.
Is it a
the room.
180 or a 360?
180.
You have to do a
Jump around,
So you're-
right?
There's
So
a
you're-
180 turn you're supposed to do.
But
and
you
then
have
backwards,
to, but you
turn
have to
around
stand up to do that.
That's
so
still just
I would
as
say,
hard, you know.
I would say that the only way to do that is to have something that is
Yeah.
this level when standing up.
That's
And
true.
I wonder how much the mouse pad.
I think the
That's
mouse
true.
pad is giving us extra bounce, if anything. I mean, I think the mouse pad helps for like the roll style ones, with like me doing the Rambo's knife off the table, just getting
Yeah.
it here. But for like these shots, I don't think it's helping at all.
Yeah, but
Not
even-
as much as a solid surface.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
but even without bouncing, the edges and stuff just change the direction too much. Just really
Yeah.
little control. Like, you think you get it down after a few shots, then you're like, yeah, I got this, and it shoots off to the right.
Yep.
If it hits the corner, it's all over. So I mean, it's
practice shots just make you feel better when you're using two or more weapons.
true.
The only thing
You know?
you get with pressure shot is how hard to throw it.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Beyond
That's
that,
true.
you're-
Yeah, you get the power. We didn't have a whole lot of crazy weird abilities. There's actually a power. There's actually an enemy that forces you to bounce it off of the game box. It has to go off the game box. No, it has to bounce. Was it bounce on the ground, then off the game box,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
back to the board? Like,
But it still has to bounce up either before or after the box, but it has to bounce off the table,
Jeez.
off the box, and then land.
I think the first time we played this, we were like, "This game's impossible." You can't.
Yeah,
you can't
we ran
do
into
this.
that one. That was
Yeah.
rough.
But so far, though, I
rough.
mean, to be fair, I don't think we've ever had to completely bypass a monster or boss because it was just unbeatable. But we've kind of like lightly house rolled the stuff where it was like, with the exception of your one hit right there. I mean, we had to be like, okay, this is just not going to happen.
took us-
We're going
it
to
was-
die on the first monster kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was the second monster into the game, and we were there for a good 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And we weren't even doing it right. We were all kneeling on the floor, throwing it like this over our shoulder, and
Every monster takes a little while, especially getting used to the different throw.
well, I think that covers it. I mean, it's a pretty fast game, and it's
light.
It's pretty light, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely check this game out if you just like having a crazy time with all kinds of randomness and yelling and screaming.
This can be a great game with kids or a really funny drinking game.
That's very true. Yep, a couple
One
of
or the
drinks
other.
and this would just be an absolute blast. But, see you guys next time. Thanks a lot.